fucking noisy. Alright, g'day. I love this thing. This thing rips, dude. I'm plugged into a Tone Master on 4. Everything's on 4 except the treble, which is just below 5. Zen Drive ODS prototype. Just had my lunch. It's a beautiful day in Nashville. Really gorgeous. I can turn that pedal off because it's making noise. So is my aircon. AC. Yeah, it's beautiful out. It's really nice out. Like summer. Okay, I want to talk about how to get your first Broadway gig. A few people have, messaged me and from the channel, but just in general, like, hey, how do I get in? How do I do it? I don't have the answer. Unfortunately, with music, I don't have the answer, and no one does. Go ask Eric Clapton or something, and he'll have a different answer to how he got his first gig to how I did, because it's all different. But I can tell you what I did, and how it worked for me, and how it worked for me when I had no gigs. When I moved to town, I had no gigs at all, and I kind of just got a call from a buddy who I went to college with. Hey, last minute, need someone tonight. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be driving an hour and a half to this marina. Going to play with these random boys. Good luck. Get there. Okay, play with them. Don't know what Chattahoochee is. So nervous. I'm playing on Folsom, and I'm going. I'm a wreck. I can't even go. I didn't play on stage growing up in that context. So I was just like nervous as can be. It was kind of it's pretty bad through the blokes who hired me. But they gave me a second chance. The first night we made $498. I was like, wow, this is going to be easy. So next Monday we played 2 to 6, Rookie Side Room. Our base pay was $40, and we made $42 total. It was pretty great. It's fun times, but hey, they kept letting me gig with them and having the opportunity to learn. But I looked into it through having a friend. But when I had no gigs, because obviously they let me go because of rubbish, it was just a text. It was a last minute, you are the only guy available, can you come play this gig at this time with this band? Yeah, I'll go do it. And that turned into a regular gig. Now I've filled in with a lot of people and played a lot, so it's pretty easy to send a text and just be like, hey, if you need someone, I'm around, and I'll be on their mind again, they'll call. And I'm lucky to have a gig every day this week, 2 on Sundays, 3 on Sundays. My regular schedule's now like 9 gigs a week. But your first gig, okay, get at your first gig. I've said this pretty consistently to people, but if you want to be here, you've got to be here. I don't really know how else to put that. Like, there's a bloke who texted me recently, like, oh, I don't live in the state, but I if you need a drummer, and it's like, well, if I need a drummer like that who I've never played with, I'm going to need you last minute, and I still need you to know the tunes. But it's kind of hard because Broadway is a specific thing, right? It's like the video I made yesterday. It's like you're subbing in with a band, and if it's your first Broadway gig, like, man, it's going to be brutal. And actually, I'll point this out. It should be brutal, and it should suck, and it should be rough, because that's how you learn. And like, you should leave so excited to put in the work. And so when I say you've got to be here to be here, what I'm talking about is like, how bad do you want this? Like, do you in my case, I needed to gig to eat. I don't have a choice. If I'm not gigging, I'm not eating. So getting gigs was pretty high up on the bar for me. You know, it was do gigs and eat, or go home to Australia and give up. So happy I didn't give up, right? You know, when I say if you want to be here, you've got to be here. You don't walk into like Kid Rock's Main or the stage on a Saturday 6:10 and go, hey, can I sit in? In fact, you don't really do that on a Monday morning. What you need to do is you need to walk up and down the street for a week straight and meet people and go get coffee with people. And what I've found is 9 times out of 10, when you're hanging out with someone who's perhaps further along than you, they're going to buy your coffee or your lunch for you. Because it's like, hey, dude, I remember being in your position in town. You know, I had this bloke, Mike Bork. He was in my video last week about gigging days. The bloke who lends me a pedal steel to play. He got me on stage for the first time. He got me my first gig, first road gig, all that. He listened through the tears and the pains and the, what is this drummer doing? He's no good. And he'd be like, well, no, he's good. You just don't get it. And he watched me grow and learn. He still does. We argue all the time. I love him. It's all just friendly banter. But he helped me approach a new gig, and that when you get a new gig, the best thing is to be honest with not only yourself, but the people. If you're new to town and someone says, hey, I need someone 6 to 10 for this slot, and you go, yeah, I can do it. Man, if you show up and you don't know Chattahoochee, you have cost that band money. If you don't know, you know, if it's a 90s country band, No One Else on Earth by Winona. Or if it's a rock band, if you don't know, like, maybe more than the one Foo Fighters song I know, then, you know, you are now costing those people money, and that will and can affect your reputation. You can have a bit of a come-up story. I think I probably had that. I moved to town, I was the worst player in town. Like, I'm talking, like, the bottom tier player. I've worked really hard to try and get a lot better. I'm not near where I could be. You know, I'm 31. By now I should be 50 times what I am. Anyway, it's not the point. What you do is you walk up and down this street and you get to know people, you get to talk to people. And then you find out that, oh, this guy I've been hanging out with plays, you know, one of the quieter stages every Tuesday, 2 to 6, and a gig where no one's there. And you go and you say, hey, can I sit in? He says, yeah, sure. And you sit in, and then you say, okay, what could I do better? I had someone sit in with me recently, and they paid no attention to the band, had headphones on, and during my solo started playing a bass solo, and I was just like, dude, like, you know, I don't know if I can comfortably hire you after that incident. You know, sitting in's got to be more than... Sitting in has to not, you know... I used to think sitting in was showing, like, how fast you can play guitar and how you can do this and this. Sitting in is the opportunity to practice, but it's also the opportunity to get in the minds and the eyes of the people in that band who go, you know what, that guy was cool, and maybe he doesn't know every song or he's new, but this would be a good gig for him to learn on. So once, you know, you've sat in, you've done that, what do? Well, you just say, hey, do you guys have a set? I'm trying to learn. And they go, oh, yeah, we have a set list. Here it is. It's got 500 songs on it. Okay. If someone in that band has access to the charts on Dropbox, there's a few Dropboxes that float around Nashville. Great, you have charts. But what do you play? Do you need to learn sig licks? Do you need to learn, if you're a guitar player, you're going to have to learn a fiddle, steel, piano, banjo, if that's the head lick. You're not just playing guitar parts anymore. If you're playing bass, what is the bass doing on the track? Playing drums. A lot of drummers tend to speed up down here, and that's not great, but You know, there's specific ways to play certain songs, and that just comes down to musicality. Um, but yeah, so once you've gotten that set list, you know, if you're gunning for a certain gig, maybe learn the set list, come back, keep trying, till eventually that guy's sick or on holidays or it's Thanksgiving and you call. And hopefully you get a call back. You could go to Tootsie's meeting on a Monday or the audition on a Saturday, see if they'll place you with a band. Or if you move to town and you're just like a monster picker, you will pick up work because word will spread real quick. But I think with your first gig, it's really difficult because it's different for everyone. I got a friend who moved here, went to Whiskey Jam to hang out, met a guy, and the guy said, "Oh, we need a drummer for next week. Can you be here?" And he's like, "Well, I'm Canadian. I'm only here for like 9 more days." And they're like, "No, play next week with us." So he borrowed literally everything. He played it, and he ended up moving here, and now he plays for that guy full time, and they're touring stadiums. Insanity. But then there's other guys I know who... My first roommate didn't gig downtown till I was getting calls and I finally had a chance to recommend someone. I'll have to get him on a video as my best friend from college. I happened to luck into a gig that was really good in a beginner position where we were all learning and I was able to grow with that. And then, you know, actually my first regular gig on Broadway, I was a bass player, which is insane to me. But by playing bass and giving up playing solos, I had to learn a lot about... I learned like almost more about the guitar by playing bass, which seems really strange. But okay, your first gig, getting it, yeah. Again, I'm just rambling. You know, I think the thing is just people want someone who's a nice fella. I've said this in other videos. If you are open about your position, hey, don't know every song, I know I'm a last minute call, thank you so much for having me, and are really nice about it, I'd rather have you back than the guy who knows everything like the record, but after each song goes, "Hey man, you missed a 16th note in the solo," or "Hey man, that chord voicing's this and the drums does this," and I'm sick of downtown and no one plays anything. Like, you know, I'm not going to call you back. You're not pleasurable to be around. But once you get your first Broadway gig under your belt, it's pretty special. It's pretty fun. I remember it. I'll see if I have the clip. There's a clip from mine, because I still play with the same drummer. In fact, I'm playing with him on Friday night. He's in my video from last Friday. He has a video of me, I've talked about this before, playing with a tech deck on top of his cymbal. It's so silly, but it was really funny. His name's Cam as well, which is cool. But yeah, so I wish I had like a definitive answer. This does seem a little like an open-ended book. So I'll throw you like a lick or something at the end, that's cool. But getting your first Broadway gig ultimately is something that I can't tell you, but I can tell you this. The people who text me over the last 3 years being like, "Hey, how do I get on Broadway? How do I get on Broadway? Have you heard of any gigs? Blah, blah, blah." It's cool and you're on my mind, but at the same time, I don't see you on Broadway and I don't see you hanging or like connecting with Broadway guys or trying to connect with Broadway guys. People hire their friends. The biggest piece of information I could give you is that like if you want to be here, you've got to be here. And I've said that to a few people a few times. You know, if you want more Broadway gigs, you've got to hang out on Broadway. I sat down the other day on a break and a guy was like, "Hey man, I've seen you play on blah, 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 blah." Swap numbers, we're going to get lunch tomorrow. I'll buy him lunch because he's new to town, you know? Whatever. It's like the nice thing to do. People did that for me. But yeah, if you want to move here, you know, it's not coming to you. Unless you're like Brent Mason level when you move here. And I'm sure someone soon will be like, we're probably overdue for that. You know, they're not coming for you. And even then, Brent played Stagecoach. Is that what it was called? It was a bar in like Hermitage or something. Maybe it was the Rusty Nail. No, I think it was called Stagecoach. I had bootlegs of it from 30 years ago, Brent playing when he's 19, and it's silly. It's like him playing like Family Tradition and stuff too. It's crazy. It's real fun. But like, even he's like slogged it out. You know what I mean? He went and did it. A lot of people have done Broadway. A lot of people look down on it, perhaps, who didn't do it, but they're probably on it now. It's like, well, it's fun and I love it. But you know, I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I do get a lot of calls and I do this full time. But my first 4 years gigging here, I was the worst musician in town. No joke, like no question. The absolute, like a complete joke. You know, guys come watch me like, what is this? But yeah, getting my first gig was an interesting experience. I actually was on a road gig with a friend. My first regular gig, how I came across that was I was on a road gig with a friend and it was thunderstorming. And I got a text, it's, can you play 10 to close tonight? And that was a gig. And halfway, 3 songs into the first regular gig. So it's probably like my 4th gig on Broadway at this point. The guy goes, hey man, you play bass, I'll play guitar, I'm going to throw you numbers. And I learnt numbers on the spot that night. So yeah, it's a different journey for everyone. But you've got to make yourself known. You know what I mean? You're not going to get gigs unless people talk to you and you talk to them. And, you know, look at all these people who are famous and incredible musicians. No one did it for them. They put in the practice and the work. So I wish I had a better answer. I really do. I'm just kind of telling stories about myself. They're all, you know, silly. But here's the thing. That's the honest truth about it. If you want it, you've got to go get it. If you want to learn how to sweep pick, go practice sweep picking. If you want to learn how to build an airplane, build an airplane. Unfortunately, music, there is no kind of instant gratification. Unless maybe you want to put on Ableton and put in an already made drum loop and go, yeah. Anyway, hair looks crazy. I've got a different shirt on. It's just the exact same. I'm wearing my own shirt. I'll leave you with a lick. How about that? How about a Robin Ford lick in F? Maybe a little drive. Yeah. Okay, so this lick is over F being the 1, but he's playing out of the minor shape. And he's he's making note that this is out of the minor 6th degree scale Aeolian. So I'm going to show you, and I'm not going to write tabs or anything, because I think if you can see me and you can hear it, that's twice as much information as you need. Learning by ear is great, but it's very handy. Maybe one day I'll do a course and tab some stuff out. Check this out. Okay, I'll do this and then I'll show you something I always work on that I think helped me. And help me get through gigs. So, this gig. Right up close. Now I'm going to show you this next thing in G. So check this out. This is something that I have practiced. Well, G would be the 5 here. I'm actually going to be in C. Something I've practiced forever. Voice leading. Voice leading has helped me learn to navigate the fretboard in more ways than I can explain. So I can play a C major scale as triads ascending, right? C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. What if I could play those moving one note at a time? Sorry. So what I'm doing is Mick Goodrick's chord cycles. So cycle 3, it means I'm moving down in pitch. Intervallically, I'm moving up thirds. So right, so C, my 1. And here's my 2, E, E minor. Now above that is my G, first inversion, G. Now, 2 notes above the G, relation is my B. So B diminished, 7 diminished. Above B is my D, 2 minor, second inversion. And then I'm going to move this down. I'm going to go F, first inversion. And then I'm going to play my A minor. And then I'm going to play C. Now you can go crazy, you can move it up like... It seems dumb and it's very routine to do, but it really helped me to see inner workings of chord movements, like if I was changing chords from, say, C minor, and we're going to go to something random, A flat major. Anyway, it's an idea to check out. But yeah, man, your first Broadway gig, how to get it? There's no answer. My answer is just don't. Here's the last thing I'll leave you with. I have a kind of a problem where, like, if I want something, I go and get it. Like, nothing stops me. And it could be like food, it could be like getting a guitar pick or a pedal. But like, I workhorse it. Like, I meant to, take a day off. No, I book a gig. Because I need to gig. Like, I need to do it. I have this thing. But, I've given up a lot to go do gigs, but I want it, and I wanted it so bad that it's all I could think about. Like, I would catch the bus down to Broadway. Remember this, my first 3 months in Nashville, I didn't have a car. I'd catch the bus down to Broadway. I would go to every stage. I would introduce myself to everyone. I'd get everyone's number. I would go get coffee, and I would scrape together money to go get that coffee. 9 times out of 10 they'd pay, and they'd say, "Oh, where are you off to? Where are you parked?" I'd say, "I caught the bus." They'd be like, "Caught the bus from here to East Nashville." But yeah, they'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna drive you home." And it was struggle street, it was really messed up. But that grit is what made me. Some people have it very cushy, just kind of, "Yeah, call me, blah, blah, blah," and they never get calls. I had no choice. I had no money, and I needed money, and I wanted to play, and I didn't want to make money any other way, and I'm not allowed to. So I did the thing, and I put up with a lot of stuff, and I got through some really difficult times, and I'm still going through difficult times, but I'm happy to be gigging and paying my rent doing that. So really, this is going to be a long video to just say, man, when I comment back, you should move to Nashville. You really should move to Nashville. There is no reason not to. What have you got to lose? If you want it bad enough, it'll happen. If the universe doesn't favor your fortune in that way, then it wasn't meant to be. But there's no correct way to play the game. The only thing to do is to dive in headfirst and hope and pray you're doing the right thing. Yeah, if you have a first gig experience, tell me about it. I'd love to know. I have one tonight. It's 3 guitars. It's hectic. I'll film some of it and post it tomorrow. How about that? Yeah. I don't know. Today's a hard one to talk about, but I figure it's important. I figure the ranting and, what it is like, I once got this lesson off a bloke who just says like 4 hours of stuff, but he says this one thing in the middle. It's like, oh, that's life-changing. So yeah, I don't know. How to get your first Broadway gig. Be here. Be determined. Go get it. Be nice. Be polite. Don't do anything I did. You get a reputation for being the worst musician ever. I don't know, man. Y'all will be fine. Just come here. Just move to Nashville. There's room. People say there's not room. Well, then why do you move here, There's room. Everyone's got to eat. They're still looking for bands, right? Anyways, I'm gonna post some stuff tomorrow. Cheers.